Well,
And we're ready. And welcome into This Life Matters. This is Drew, and of course, you're looking at Gigi. How you doing today, Gigi?
I'm doing really well today. I haven't been doing so well, but we'll get to that in a minute. How are
Oh,
you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. It's raining here, and well, no, it stopped. It just stopped, just that
Oh,
quick. That's how it is here. It'll just you'll be and people won't stop what they're doing. They will walk down the street and literally just it'll be raining and they'll just keep walking. They won't run for shelter or anything like that. Like I'm the only one who will put on my hood. Everyone else is no umbrellas, nothing. They're just used to it. That's life.
yeah, they're used to it. And, in Colorado, it's like that. Like at 4 o'clock, if you're in the mountains, you can expect a little rain shower and then it goes away. So you just kind of stop and get under a porch or something and go on about your business.
Yeah, I'll get used to it eventually. Eventually you'll see me just out there just walking in the rain.
I guess so. That wouldn't be me. But my grandmother, she had an umbrella with her all the time, and she used it whether it was raining, if it was really rainy, or if it was really sunny. She popped that umbrella up, and there she was walking down the street.
I guess, and that's the really cool thing about it is an umbrella can be used in extreme heat or in rain. So why not keep one with you all the time?
Well, I had a garage sale over the weekend. It didn't last too long, thank goodness. But there was a Chinese woman that came, and it was sunny. It wasn't real hot, but it was very sunny. I was getting kind of hot, and she had an umbrella. And it really reminded me, of my grandmother and how she used to walk all the time with an umbrella. So
I need to start carrying an umbrella or wearing a hat because, as you remember, I'm supposed to wear a hat all the time. So,
just because it's cloudy where you live doesn't mean you don't get some UV rays.
yeah, I need to. Okay, it's raining again. So,
But
so
it sounds like it's raining a lot.
yeah, yeah, it just started right back up again. So,
Yeah.
once
Well,
again, I'm gonna get used to this at some point.
yeah. Today we're starting a new topic for our listeners and for ourselves too. And why don't you introduce it?
I like to call this one a good series. GOOD, getting out our dreams. And for me, getting out your dream has it's worthy of a conversation. Like over the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about it. And I think there's a lot of different questions that we're gonna answer. Like we're gonna unlock. Like who are the dreamers? What does it take to dream? What does a good dream look like? Just really understanding the makeup of what a dream is, because for each one of us, we may have different definitions of what a dream is.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel as though it's very important for us to kind of dive into the conversation. What about you? Just kind of getting it started. What do you think? Like, what's your definition of like who are not definition, but what would you say? Who are the dreamers?
Well, you and I kind of differ on that because I
Yeah,
think everybody can be a dreamer. So I think there's small dreaming, and I think and we're not talking about the dreams you have at night,
right.
but um, you could be a dreamer if you're thinking of small things that you want to incorporate into your life that goals you haven't reached yet, or could be big dreamers, like starting your own big, huge company and having millions of people work for you. I think there's a few people like that in the world. Uh, Facebook and different, different Bill
Yeah,
Gates. Those were big dreamers.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think they fell into that. They had a dream. It starts with an idea and goes from there. So, that's kind of what I think.
And I agree with you. I think that the one part that I differ is I feel like a dreamer, the the dreamers that we've named, like the Mark Zuckerbergs or the different people, they are all a little bit crazy. Like the people who pursue the dreams are the ones who, because you're right, every last single one of us can be a dreamer, and I
Hmm.
think every last single one of us are a dreamer. There's very few. There's situational times in people's lives where life circumstances may have beaten the dream out of them temporarily. But it's always there in the back of your head. Like, even if you're just in the rut of the 9 to 5, there's it's gonna come out eventually. Like come retirement time, you're gonna remember you've always wanted to do this or that. So I don't
Mhm.
believe dreams can ever die. But when I say that dreamers, the ones who are living it, the living dreamers, they're the crazy ones in life. They're the ones who are out there just absolutely being insane and doing everything that doesn't make logical sense to everyone else. They're not making sense out of anything. They're making faith. They're just out there doing in some cases what they feel like God has told them to do, or they're doing what they know their gut instinct and their core values are pushing them to do.
So they're creators too.
Yes. Yeah.
Creators. And sometimes when we have dreams and we really want them and we share them, there are people in our life that can be very supportive, and there are people in life that can try to squash our dreams.
Yes, yes. And I think, what's funny about it? You have to be associated with the success of your dream. You have to have the determination that you're going to succeed at that dream, because some people who love you and support you may shut down your dream and not even know it. So they may not even be your enemy. I have a very private dream that I've shared publicly multiple times. Um, about me and my wife having another child. I've had almost everyone who I'm close with tell me, oh, that's impossible. And they're just repeating different things. But it's still a dream within me. And I love everyone who's told me it's impossible. I still love them because but the dream's not dead. So I still have that dream locked within me. So I give that example just to say, lock your dream in, because sometimes people will doubt you or will say you can't accomplish this dream, it isn't realistic, it isn't right. But at the end of the day, it's your dream, and the only thing that can kill that dream is you. So you have to be dedicated to that dream, regardless if it makes sense or not.
Our last series we did is on resilience, and we talked about some of these things
Yeah,
about um, kind of asking yourself, what you would like to do and allowing yourself to do that. And that's one of the things about a dream is sometimes we don't know what our dream is. We may have a little nugget, but we haven't let it, uh, incubate, and we
yeah,
haven't believed it that we could do it. So asking yourself, you know, what would I do? What would I create? What would I be? What would I give? Where would I go? All of those questions, if I didn't have any limitations on anything. And when we get really honest with ourselves and give ourselves enough quiet space to do it, this has to be a solitary adventure of sitting down and really concentrating and actually, quote, dreaming about what that would be, and allow yourself to think about that and daydream about it. And if there was nothing stopping you, money, places, people, circumstances, anything at all, what that seed of that dream might be for
yeah.
you. That's
So
what would start.
yeah, you've asked yourself that question before at some point in life,
Mhm.
um, and you're in a situation where, do you feel like you live out your dream now, or do you feel like you pursue your dream?
I am still pursuing. There's been times I've lived it out, but for me personally, I always want to be pursuing.
Yeah,
I don't ever want to get to the place where I think I've arrived at my dream. And also, that's going to change. Right now, you had a dream earlier. You moved to Tulsa, you changed some things in your life, you had some dreams, you reached those.
yeah,
You reached it. And then, okay, you got to have a new dream. You can't be stuck in, oh, I've reached my dream, and that's boring.
Yeah, no, you're right. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to reimagine the dream so that you can stay on the journey because that potential that we all have, it's there. We just gotta, we just gotta continue to renew it. We never want to plateau. You never want to just get to that place of just blah, you know?
Because we're always moving, and we're all, whether we are aware of it or not, we're always evolving. We can always evolve, and we can reach one dream. Some people might be more comfortable with the word goal. I
Yeah.
don't, I like
Yeah.
dream, but we might reach a certain place. But if it's a bigger thing, and if it's really, at this point, there are circumstances, finances, people, places, all those kinds of things that are in the way. There's got to be a way that people can imagine moving just even a little bit to reaching whatever that dream is. And that's the secret sauce of it. I think that's the little magic piece, is that you don't give up, and that you say, well, I can't do this right now, but I can do this part of it, or I can do a piece of it. And then when you do that, then there's going to be the next place that you can do something, and the next, until you actually do reach whatever the dream may be.
I think that's good. I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask you a question that we didn't really prep for, but it kind of came to me a little bit earlier, and it's a little bit of a fun question. Who are your favorite dreamers? Like, famous, not famous, personal, who are your favorite dreamers? Who are the dreamers you've looked to down through the years and have admired the way that they walked out their dreams?
Well, there's people in Tulsa that I think are not famous all over the world. There's people that have been guests on our show, actually. For instance, I think Kathy Taylor in Tulsa is a dreamer, and I admire her quite a bit for what she's accomplished. And she keeps reinventing herself and giving. She gives a lot. How about George Kaiser? And he lives in Tulsa, and all the things that George Kaiser has done for this community. Uh, I think that my own grandmother was a dreamer.
Yeah,
And, when her husband was murdered, she was 32 years old. She had five living children. I mean, what do you do with that when people are telling you, you can't do this, you can't raise these children? And she wasn't going to put up with that, you know? So she had something in her mind. She did not give up on raising those children. She figured out a way to do it. And so she was a successful person in that way. When she was 17, I mean, she went to Juilliard. That was in 1800s, at late 1800s. And her mother died at her childbirth. I mean, people that face so many adversities, and they just keep going. Those are the kind of people I admire and look at as dreamers. They may not have been the most successful people, started these huge companies or things like that, but they have a vision. That may be a more comfortable word for some people too, a
yeah.
vision of want to have or create, and then they just slowly go about it. It's not ever bam, it just happens. The people that are the most successful, I think, are the ones that work at it. It's slower, and they don't give up. So I guess the dreamers that I admire are the ones that don't give up.
Yeah. And I asked that question because the capacity, seeing that you have the capacity, seeing that your potential can graduate because you see the example set before you. And I love the fact that when you can find someone who's a dreamer within your bloodline, you associate with it. You start to see that it's doable. And that's one of the reasons why in life that communities of people fight for inequality and they fight for social injustice because they don't want any demographic of people to go down, a generation of people to go down and feel as though they're helpless or they can't accomplish a dream. It's
Hmm.
one of the reasons the presidency before last with Barack Obama was so inspiring to so many African Americans. And it's one of the things that you see in the public eye now, where you see so many people taking political stands and doing things because they know they can. There's a chance there. There's a chance of hope. And so seeing dreamers succeed is important. The other reason for bringing that up is you have to share your dream when you get it out there because it will inspire others. And I feel like a dream that you keep to yourself, there's some private things, but
Right.
for the most part, always put it in a biblical context just because that's, how I am. But I feel like I've always been blessed by one thing is the factor that we really do overcome by hearing the testimonies of others.
Hmm.
Like we really can be inspired by and know and have a blueprint on how to get out our dreams because I think sometimes our dreams can be suffocated with our own doubt.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely. What's your dream? What is your dream? I mean, I didn't crap about this, but do you have a current dream?
I think my current dream is to become to take who I am and let it birth into a media company, like a multimedia company. Like I see that I have the potential to market things and do a lot of different things. And it's funny because I'm at this point now where I'm learning to hush the noise because of the lack of education, the lack of resources, the lack of this, that, or another. And there's a certain level of resiliency that's recently just kind of picked up in me in the last 6, 7 months that says it doesn't matter. It's time to fulfill your destiny. And I believe God has woken that up in me to do what I've been gifted to do. Here's the proof is I had previous goals that were related to something else that I believe God gave me for a season, and I crushed them. Like I exceeded my expectations and others.
Mm-hmm. You did.
And I don't care how it didn't have to be a long-lived season. It was a short season of success, and in that, it showed me I have the potential, and my potential can graduate into potency. And so now that I know that I can do that, there's no limitation on what I can do. So right now, my current dream is to see the products that and I hate to refer to it as a product because it's much more personal than that. But I feel like the information that me and you share, the information that me and my wife share, the entertainment that me and the fellas on the barbershop share, um, this desire that I have within to educate, inform, and entertain the public is going to get out there. I'm not envisioning a television show or anything like that. I'm putting no limitation on it. If I have a newspaper, a my own newspaper, magazine, if I have my own, website that's highly successful and we have our own show that's on television and on syndicated radio. Those are my dreams right now. The other one, because I have a lot of dreams right now, and the other dream is my wife has just realized her dream um, to deliver a ministry to people, making them feel and know that they're beautiful by doing their hair in a natural way without chemicals or anything, and helping her market her dream has helped me fulfill a lifelong dream. And so,
You've touched on something right there too. Is you've got this dream, but you've recognized that this partner of yours has this dream,
correct.
and sometimes people find it easier to push and boost and make the other person's dream happen
Yeah.
easier than their own and get lost in that. But I think that's okay for a time. I think that's okay for a season of doing that. And I've done that with my husband before, and he's done that with me. And, he graduated from Oklahoma State and he was an architect and he had a dream, and it was to come to TU and do a 3-year basically degree in art. And they call it a Master of Fine Arts, but it's a 3-year terminal degree. He did that. And at the same time, I thought, well, I'd like to go to nursing school. That wasn't my first degree. I thought, so when we were down where before we moved to Tulsa, I figured out how to get trained and I went to work in a hospital. I thought, yeah, I'd like to do this. So I applied to TU and I was accepted into the nursing school. And I went to enroll and I was talking to the advisor and I looked at the schedule. I mean, we had a daughter then. We had a 19-month-old daughter. He had a stipend. I mean, he had a paid graduate assistantship. He got $150 a month on and his tuition was paid. We had to find a place at that time for $150 a month. Well, that was 1974. Okay. So we could do it. It was hard, but we could do it. And so I went to the meeting and I realized somebody has to work. It's going to be me. So I didn't enroll in that. And that was fine. I did that. And that was probably better. So that, I guess, either wasn't really my dream or it just wasn't right for me to do that. I have always tried to enable him to reach those dreams, whatever they are. And I try to push when he's not trying himself. I try to kind of move him in that direction. And he's always done the same for me. I went back to school to get a master's degree. I mean, he paid for it. He took care of 4 kids and my parents while they were at home. I did my master's degree at that point. So he took over a lot of things. So I think, if you're with somebody, it's important not just to recognize your dream, but to also recognize their dream and help them make it possible.
Yes. And we've discussed this in other areas, but when you don't do that, you then open up the door to anger and frustration in your relationship because of unexpected goals. I mean, unexpected expectations not being met, I should say. Each person has an expectation that they're going to help each other. When you enter into a marriage or a relationship of that nature, you're looking for that type of bond. And we could expand this outside of marriage. There's an expectation that even within the confines of our dreaming together, our relationship of dreaming for this life matters, there's things that you expect me to get done and there's things that I expect you to get done. And when we don't meet that expectation, we're not happy with each other. Now,
No.
we still keep going, but that doesn't change,
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. And so I think that the key factor is always continue to fight and keep showing. I think when you show the effort, that's worth someone sticking around. We were talking about this with just in all transparency. We talked about that within our show. We want the quality of our video and our audio to get right. And
Hmm.
we're not personally, me and you are not patient. Now we
No.
know now we know that you guys listening and watching us right now, we know that you love us and you'll be patient and you want to help us get out our dreams. But personally, we want more. And so um that's what, and I believe because you guys know we want more for you, that's one of the reasons why we're here. And not to just veer off, but thank you. You know,
Hmm.
absolutely, because you're helping us stay motivated, and we're hoping that we're helping you stay motivated to get your dreams out. Um, because it's always a good time to insert the name because that's what makes life matter. That's what makes this life matters.
Right. It is a good time to insert the name.
Yeah. But with all that being said, next week we're going to get a little bit deeper into this topic and go a little bit further in depth as far as what is it, what are dreams? What do they really look like? Like what are some of the things that are responsible dreams? How do you walk some of these things out? Um, Even just down to we've covered a little bit of what it looks like, some of the pitfalls of a dream, but we haven't gone in depth of. We've talked and told you the good side of having a dream, having someone who supports you. But what about when you don't have anyone that supports you at all? It's one thing for us to say resiliency is key, but what does that really mean? And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that next week. And we're not going to just give up on this particular subject because we feel like this is a subject matter that's good. Getting out our dreams. We're going to do it with you. You got anything else for this week?
I'm just really glad I feel good today. You asked me earlier how I was doing, and I'll tell you, there is this horrible stomach illness going around Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my entire family succumbed to it. I succumbed to it, but hey, you know what? I bounced back quicker than anybody else. I only
Yeah.
had it 24 hours. They've been dragging on for days. But so I was really glad today that really grateful that I felt really good today. So, yeah.
All right. Well, check us out next week. One of the adjustments that we've made with This Life Matters is if you check out our Facebook page, I'm sorry, our YouTube page, which is This Life Matters One. If you look us up on this live on YouTube, you'll get a chance to hear us, as well as in the podcast section of iTunes, you'll be able to see last week's show or get a chance to hear last week's show, and you'll also be able to access this show. And of course, we'll post links to the show on our Facebook page. And one of the things that I've had time to do lately is post inspirational videos to our Facebook page. So make sure you check out some of the videos. I try to get you one every other day, if not every day, and just be inspired by it because there's a lot of different things in life that just gives you that little push. And when I find those videos, I try to make sure if I got the nudge and it pushed me a little bit, I want to share it with you. So make sure you check out our Facebook page, which is Facebook This Life Matters One. Also, right?
I think it's just This Life
Life
Matters.
Matters. Okay. So
And
yeah,
the listeners that are loyal listeners, we want to thank you and we want to ask you for a favor. If you would share the shows with people, that would really increase who gets to hear the shows. Because if you share them with all your friends and maybe they would share them, that exponentially lets more people hear. If you would like to do that, we would love for you to do it.
yes. Well, that's the show. So I guess what do you normally say when we end the show?
Until next time, we'll see you later on the radio, is what I used to
It's the,
say. What am I going to say now?
we'll
We'll see
see you on everything.
on everything next week. Okay, bye for now. Thanks for listening.